originally we wanted to be the Coen Brothers 2.0 together. We had that moment for a little bit, but now I'm coming back on my own, and it was terrifying. It was totally terrifying. Nobody wants to be the solo act that falls very short of like the dynamic duo, you know what I mean? So it was very scary, but you know, I just came from a place of this is a story I want to tell, this is a movie I want to make, I love doing this, that's enough. And luckily it's been, you know, probably our most successful movie on the festival circuit so far. So it's a relief that it wasn't, you know, a giant collapse. You know, because I think what you're afraid of is that, you know, people are going to say, oh, his brother was the one with the special sauce. You know what I mean? That's the terror. And, you know, so far it doesn't feel like that's the case. We both are talented in our own ways, so it feels nice to see that play out. I mean, the choice was really, you know, to make a small indie was really just about the fact that, you know, I was trying to get back to making movies. The longer you go without making a movie, the more Hollywood forgets about you. It really is not what have you done, but what have you done lately. Not to mention I was making a movie without my brother, so nobody knew if I would be any good. So, you know, we went through the pandemic. That was an incredibly hard time for independent films, mainly because, you know, if you're making a movie that costs $200,000, $300,000, your COVID budget is going to be more expensive than the movie itself. So that kind of died. And then I was building some films to try to make on the heels of that, and then we had our strikes. So I was really floundering there for a while, and by the time the strikes were wrapping up, I really thought to myself, I need to make a movie that's so homemade and so small that nobody can stop me from making it. So that was really the impetus behind it. But you know, what's crazy is, you know, these cameras are so incredible now. They are so, there's really very little barrier to entry to making something beautiful. I think it's probably the most beautiful film I've made. It's raw, but it is, I think it's a gorgeous movie. You know, I hired a documentary cinematographer to shoot it. So it's very raw, but it's beautiful, and it is exciting now. The technology has advanced so much, and it's so affordable, that really the only limitation to making a good film now is your own creativity and ingenuity, which is terrifying. Can't blame it on the cameras or the film anymore. I think it's just a fun title because I think it feels like the end of the world right now. It hopefully isn't, but it certainly feels like the end of the world. And you know, someone was saying that, you know, independent filmmaking now is like off Broadway. You know, it does feel like the movies that are being made right now and being supported are, you know, giant universe movies, and that it's almost impossible to get an independent film seen. And that's where I come from. That's my original true love. I do TV, I do act in larger movies and stuff like that, but making original pieces of art is why I started this in the first place. I love it. It's undeniable. And so I think the feeling is like, you know, everyone is telling you it's impossible. Everyone is telling you it won't work. How do you do it? How do you do it when everything feels like it's collapsing around you? And I really do believe that if this is what you love and this is, you know, your passion, you have to do it. And you will find a way if you just keep doing it. So that's sort of what the talk is going to be centered around. Yeah, I already have shot another movie called See You When I See You, which I shot in Atlanta in the fall. I'm working on finishing it right now. And yeah, absolutely, I want to take it to festivals. I mean, I would love to come back here. I think, you know, The one thing that I've learned is when you have a really good film, a really special film, the more people that see it means more people will see it, because the real way that these movies get out into the world is that people that you love and trust see a movie and they're like, you have to see it, you know? So that's what I hope we're doing here with this festival is like, you know, obviously the major film fans are going to come to this. They're going to see this movie, and if they love it, they're going to tell their friends and loved ones to come out on September 12th and see it in the movie theater, and that's what we're all relying on to keep, you know, independent film strong and safe. You can shoot a movie on iPhone. I mean, we produced Sean Baker's Tangerine, which was the movie that he shot on iPhones. You can shoot a movie on iPhone. You need a microphone and you need a laptop. That's what you need to make a movie right now. And look, it may not look like a Christopher Nolan movie, but it can be beautiful and it can be stylized. It can be whatever it needs to be to serve the subject and the story. Because the truth is if you make a movie with an iPhone and a laptop that tells a great story and has great acting, there will be no stopping that movie. That movie won several Independent Spirit Awards and really put Sean Baker on the map that led to the Florida Project. And we all know what happened this year at the Oscars. It was a very quick path for him. So there really is no barrier to entry. You can shoot on weekends. You can shoot on nights and weekends. I know that you can make a feature film for free. I know you can do it. You know, it's nice to buy pizza for people who are going to come out and be in your movie, but if you're working with a collective and everybody wants to be a part of it and everybody wants to create a piece of art, there's no reason you can't do it for free. Yeah, you can post it on YouTube. You can create your own channel. You can take it to festivals and sell it to a streamer. You can, you know, there's a million avenues. There are, you know, the great thing about streaming and you know, free sources like YouTube are that you can post your movie and get it out into the world. The hard thing is now there's so much noise, you know. But that's where festivals come in handy is like festivals will tell you what are the films that you need to see, because there are a lot of films being made and there's a lot of up-and-comers, and people can't be expected to make masterpieces in their first movie. You know, it's a very complex art form and it takes a while, and that's also what's great about film festivals is supporting filmmakers who make short films or filmmakers who made a feature film that might not, you know, be suitable for, you know, theatrical release, but like shows a ton of talent and excitement, and you know, so it's really like a, you know, a farm team situation for the major leagues. My favorite length of film. I used to love a tight, heartfelt comedy like Annie Hall's 88 Minutes. Most of my movies used to be that length. My last two movies are an hour and 43 minutes, so it's growing. Judd Apatow actually told me, he was like, your movies need to be longer, man. People need more time to invest in the characters, and I think he might be right. But for hard comedies, 88 minutes. It feels great. It feels great to come to a place that, you know, they flew me here, they put me in a nice hotel, they are going to put my film up on a big screen and celebrate it with strangers. I mean, it's a beautiful process. I mean, making movies is weird. You know, you come up with the idea in hopes that 3 years later, strangers are going to watch your movie in a dark movie theater. And, you know, film festivals like this is the first place that starts to happen. So it's magical to me. And it's also not lost on me that the people who are coming to see it at this festival are film lovers, and they're here to celebrate it. And that's what I want to do. I want to celebrate my favorite art form, and they're here to do that too. So it's just kind of like, you know, a fun party where everybody's on the same page, and that's so rare in these times, in these apocalyptic times. I mean, as a director, I'm always just looking for a location that matters to the story and that feels germane to the story and is beautiful or horrible looking, whatever it is that you need. But yeah, as a producer, it really comes down to tax incentives nowadays. It's tough. I mean, you know, for the larger movies that I produce and direct, I am not putting up the money for that, but the investors sure want it to be as cheap as possible. And my last film that I directed was set in Denver. It's a true story set in Denver, and it was shot in Atlanta. And we had to work our little tails off to try and find locations and streets and and greenery that looked like it could actually exist in Denver. Because Atlanta had the best tax incentive at that moment, and the most crew available too. The right crew was available at that time. So, I have all my ideas about what I want, but I have to let go of them to some degree to get the movie made.
So it's worth the headache?
Yeah, it's worth the headache. I mean, anytime somebody's willing to give me millions of dollars to make a movie, I'm amazed and I will obey. Funny is crazy hard. It's crazy, crazy hard. And the only way I know how to do it is to write what is funny to me in the moment, and then if you come back 2 months later and you read it and it's not funny, you got to rewrite it. And then if you shoot it on set and it's not funny, you got to rewrite it and reshoot it. And if it's not funny after you've shot it, you got to fix it in editorial and make it funny. Same thing with meaningful, same thing with, emotional. All those things have to constantly be readjusted along the way. And I think the only mistake you can really make is just assuming because it was funny at one time, it still is funny. Context is everything. Something that's funny in a room on a Tuesday night at 3 in the morning might just be funny because you were delirious, So you constantly have to be analyzing things and being honest about what exactly you're getting. And I think as long as that's what being an artist is really all about, is just being in the moment and being honest about what you're creating and the impact that it's having, and trying to stay true to that. Make a lot of movies. Just make a lot of movies. Stop thinking about movies. Stop talking about making movies. Stop making meetings about making movies and make movies. Because it's very easy to confuse thinking about movies with making movies. Certain amount of thinking has to go into it for sure. But, I think it is a volume game. We have this bad idea in our culture because we've all seen so many movies and we watch so much TV that we should be able to wake up and just make something great or not. And the truth is it couldn't be further from the truth. There's so much craft in terms of writing a good story, directing one, the cinematography, everything that goes into making a movie is many, many layers of craft. No one would ever think to make a painting on a Tuesday morning and think that they could sell that painting and that everybody would want it, But that's how people think about movies, and it shouldn't be that way. Make movies, make a lot of them, make them very cheaply so that you can fail and get up off the ground again and make another one, because it's a hard thing to get right, and you need to give yourself the time to find it and to find what you uniquely have to offer the world. I don't mind talking about my movie, but or talking about making movies in general. But what I find odd is that the communication is the movie. That actually is the communication. So it's always a little awkward to articulate a bunch of things after you made the movie, because it's like, well, that's what I wanted to say. What the movie says is what I actually want to say, not these impromptu answers that I'm coming up with here and now, because people are asking questions. But if people are genuinely interested, I'm genuinely interested in answering those questions.